30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour and 30 minutes. A group of people were gathered around the auction block of Zone Tokyo. A typical scene in this day and time, a week's worth of rice was up for grabs and there hadn't been a rice auction in 3 months. 2 hours. 3 hours. It was a simple bag of rice, and even though a week didn't seem like much, most of the people who were participating were more focused on surviving that long. It has been 200 years since the end of ages. The people in power have divided up the country into zones, each showing their pride and zealousness, naming each territory based on the ruling power's capital. Zone Tokyo is a main hub for experimentation and the central headquarters for what is now known as the True World Order, the collective forces behind the downfall of American society. "Sir, please. I'm begging you, my children haven't eaten in 2 weeks. They're starving to death," screamed a brown-skinned woman in the crowd. "Shut up, bitch," a man yelled. "We all here for the same damn reason. Do you think my kid has eaten anything? Either put your time up or get the fuck out of here." Several people in the crowd began to turn toward the woman. "You think they are giving food away for free? Do you know what it's like to see your mother die in your arms because she couldn't get a simple cup of water? Don't complain about your children needing food to eat. At least your kids are still alive." The woman started to shed tears of anguish. "Please," she screamed. A brick was thrown from amongst the crowd and collided with the woman's skull, knocking her to the ground. A large gash seeped with blood as the woman slowly faded from consciousness. 5 hours. 6 hours. The crowd continued to bid on what could ultimately be some of their last meals. 1 month, a tall, slender, light-skinned man rasped. The crowd grew silent. "What did you say?" the auctioneer asked. Quote ellipsis dot. "I'll give you 1 month of my life for a week's worth of rice." Whispers started to flood across the crowd. Does he even have a month to give? Didn't he give a month up last week? What's the point? His whole family died over 5 years ago. Must be eager to see them again. The auctioneer addressed the crowd. "Is there anyone here that will match this man's offer of 1 month?" The crowd once again grew as silent as a mouse. "Step forward," the auctioneer beckoned the man to the front of the crowd. He ordered his subordinate to check the man's remaining time and confirm he had enough time to process the transaction. 1 month 7 days, sir." The auctioneer studied the man as if he were evaluating his resolve. "Proceed." The subordinate pulled out a metallic cylinder from his waistband, and as he adjusted its settings, a red light emitted from its base. The subordinate stared into the man's eyes. "State your name, cattle number and date of birth." "Elias, .32-2065, date of birth, the 10th of February 2055. The auctioneer looked at him with disgust and anger. This is why you people don't deserve to live. Take a look, you dogs. This man is 15 years old, but due to his lack of self-control his body is in fact 94 years of age. Let this be a lesson to all of you that without discipline you will end up just like this filth." He glanced at his subordinate. "Go on." Elias unbuttoned his shirt to expose his bare chest, the contours of his ribcage visible for all to see. He wasn't worried about the cost, he just needed the rice. The subordinate injected the cylinder into his stomach and Elias twitched his face slightly in pain. "I hope it's worth it," the subordinate said, shaking his head at Elias as if he pitied him. "It is." The subordinate pressed the orange button on the top of the cylinder and Elias' eyes rolled back in his head, his life essence being stripped from his body. His skin drew ever tighter around his bones, his veins pulsed at a frenetic pace. His heart illuminated in a blue tint and expanded as if it were about to explode. "Uwag!" Elias screamed out in pain as the cylinder filled up with a blue liquid. His spirit, his heart, his soul, now smaller today than it was a week ago. The crowd watched with hopelessness. They too knew that this fate would soon come to them as well. It was inevitable. In this age, to live, to survive, you had to forfeit your time. There were the haves and the have-nots. The people in authority and command hoarded up all the resources for themselves and forced the people below to fight amongst each other over the scraps. They didn't know sacrifice, they didn't know pain. None of them had ever had to put up any time because they were exempt from doing so, and any time there was a competition to claim valuable resources they just used their slaves to forfeit their own time. It's as if it were a game to them and we were the game pieces being played. Beep! The base of the cylinder turned green and the subordinate twisted the head of the cylinder to lock in the life essence. Elias tried to control his ragged breathing as his hands trembled and shook. As he tried to grasp the buttons on his shirt, he collapsed onto the ground, face down in a puddle of mud and water. That concludes today's auction. There will be a wheat auction tomorrow at 0700. If you are a minute late you will be turned away at the gate," shouted the auctioneer. "Clear out." The subordinate bellowed. As the crowd began to disperse, the auctioneer instructed the subordinate to disperse the purchased goods to Elias, now unconscious and stretched out on the ground as if dead to the world. The crowd continued to single file through